Good morning, my name is Siboney and the topic of my presentation is how spaces and landscapes can modify the behavior of a female character inside a literary creation. In order to do that, I will study the fields of space and gender, considering the question of how these two concepts modify each other. In this presentation, I am going to analyze deeply how the character of Juliet, included in the short stories Chance, Soon, and Silence, is undoubtedly influenced by the landscapes that surround her. That is, how she behaves differently in relation to the sphere in which she is placed, either a public or a private space. I have divided my presentation into three parts. Firstly, I am going to analyze the concepts of space and gender. Then I will move to the main body of the presentation, which is the summary and analysis of each of the short stories in relation to the parameters that were mentioned before. Thirdly, I will comment on my own conclusions of the project. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them afterwards. As Lisbeth Goodman states in his book Literature and Gender, published in 1996, the question of gender is a culturally produced concept. However, it is so immersed in our consciousness that there is no doubt that when we write and read, we do so as gendered individuals. This means that our role as readers is always impartial, because not only our gender, but also our age, race, and class will probably affect our interpretation of any kind of literary creation. Another literary critic, the German professor Martine Loos, argues that spaces are also culturally produced. There is a great need for people to create familiar zones in which they can feel safe enough to act freely. However, we must assume that one's own world is constantly invaded by external looks which do not leave us act freely. By placing women as the narrators of her short stories, Monroe wants to emphasize that women are even more the object of a gaze that cannot be switched off. We will see how Juliet sometimes feels overwhelmed by public spheres which oppress with social expectations, especially in the conservative societies in which Monroe places her short stories. In addition to that, we will see how Juliet feels devastated by private spheres, like for example houses, which may act as a cage, just like the rules and regulations regarding feminine behavior may be a cage. As we have seen so far, the concepts of space and gender nourish each other, and this is why I decided it was worth studying the intersection of these two.